News.
Well, elsewhere, the All Progressives Congress presidential campaign says they are ready to go round the country to convince Nigerians why their candidate should be re-elected. The foot soldiers of the campaign, well, they have been launched at the International Conference Center in Abuja. The APC candidate and Nigeria's president, Muhammadu Buhari, is the chairman of the council, while Senator Bola Tinubu is the co-chair. The vice president, Professor Yemi, and the party's running mate will serve as deputy chairman alongside the APC national chairman, Mr. Adams Oshomole. Mr. Rotimi Amechi is the director general of the campaign.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, just to you then. Thank you. What platform? Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, just to you then. Thank you.
Meanwhile, the governor, Ibikunle Amosu of Ogun State, remains confident that President Muhammadu Buhari will coast to victory in next month's presidential poll. The governor was speaking when he paid a courtesy visit on the president along with the governorship candidate of the Allied People's Movement, APM, in Ogun State, Mr. Adekunle Akinlade. Governor Amosu believes President Buhari's achievements in the last 4 years speak volumes about his popularity. Let's tell you about the main opposition party, PDP. After their campaigns in the South-South and the town hall in Aba, well, the party is restarting the open-air campaigns today in Lokoja, the capital of Kogi State, north-central region of the country. Well, the party's presidential candidate alongside other party leaders are expected to be on the podium, canvassing for votes to the people of the state. Well, let's turn our attention now to our correspondent, Lanre Lasisi, who is following activities of the PDP candidate, but I believe that we will get to him to tell us what's happening at Kogi PDP's campaign today. Well, let's move on to this story, which is barely 40 days to the general elections, and main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, they're saying the peace accord signed by the political parties may not achieve much, and this is going by the activities of the APC-led government. Speaking to journalists in Abuja, the party spokesman, Kola Logbodunyo, accuses the federal government of stifling free speech and intimidating members of the opposition to pave way for the re-election of President Buhari.
The PPCO notes that peaceful election cannot be guaranteed as long as the Buhari presidency continue to besiege, harass, intimidate, unleash violence, and provocative acts of totalitarianism against opposition figures and persons perceived to be against President Buhari's self-succession bid. The PPCO alerts the entire world, and particularly the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN in brackets, of the ongoing use of the police to clamp down on opposition figures, particularly members of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council and our spokespersons, on trumped-up criminal charges. Part of the plot is to charge such individuals before certain compromised judicial officials in various states who have been briefed to detain, silence, and put such opposition figures and CSO members out of circulation until the elections are concluded. Particular cases at hand are those of our Presidential Campaign Director on Civil Societies, Senator Dino Melaye, who is being hounded for his outspokenness against the misrule of President Buhari, as well as civil rights activist Deji Adeyanju, who is widely believed to have been held down in prison because of his scathing criticism against the violations of the rights of Nigerians by the Buhari presidency.
In the meantime, Vice President Professor Yemi has had a closed-door meeting with the Awujale and Paramount ruler of Ijebu-land, Oba Sikiru Adetono, in his private home, the GRA in Ijebu-Ode. The meeting, which lasted for over 2 hours, was described as strictly private, as journalists were not allowed into the venue. although the outcome of the meeting was not made public, but it may not be unconnected with efforts to seek the understanding of the monarch and other traditional rulers from the area in the build-up to next general elections. Well, the dust is not settled over the claims that Mrs. Amina Zakari, this is the National Commissioner at INEC, is related to President Muhammadu Buhari. The opposition party, the PDP, they've not letting down on its attack and talking about its attack on the electoral body. The leadership of the party in the Southwest says it is fast losing confidence in the electoral umpire due to some of its recent actions, particularly the appointment of Mrs. Amina Zakari as head of the Commission's ad hoc committee on collation of the 2019 polls. The party leaders are speaking at the flag-off of the party's campaign in the Southwest region.
This gathering of members of the People's Democratic Party in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, is to intensify its campaign strategy ahead of the 2019 elections. And the governorship candidate of the party in Oyo State, Seyi Akinde, wants progressive suggestions from all quarters.
There are peculiarities in each of the states, but when we exchange ideas, we may be able to at least not spin our wheels, where we can, things that we're looking at, the challenges that we're looking at in Oyo State, for instance, you may already have a solution to it in Ekiti State, because you just had an election not too long ago, or Osun State. So we look forward to you cross-pollinating ideas with us, so that at least all of us will have something to take back.
They also take the time to air their displeasure over the choice of Amina Zakari as the head of INEC's Collation Center. The former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, leads the charge in this regard.
What you saw the last few days by the appointment of Amina Zakari is a moral body. We have no confidence in INEC. Very expressly. And you can tell by their actions in the last 3.5 years. We started in Kogi State and onto Ondo, Edo, Ekiti and Osun. I want you to recall that we started with inconclusiveness. That was the pattern. And when the outcry was becoming embarrassing to them and for them.
All eyes are on the Independent National Electoral Commission over the appointment. And the only way it seems the electoral body can prove its critics wrong is to ensure smooth elections.
Well, we had earlier told you the All Progressives Congress presidential campaign saying that it is ready to go around the country to convince Nigerians on why it will be elected with the inauguration of the presidential campaign. And I believe we have correspondent Ibrahim Adra to give us an update of what is taking place at the International Conference Center in Abuja.
Yes, Millicent, this inauguration today of the Presidential Campaign Council is coming only days after the president inaugurated the Women and Youth wing of that campaign. Now, from what we're getting here, this inauguration will kickstart a lot of activities as far as political activities are concerned for the APC. I was able to speak to a few officials before the beginning of this event, and they assured me that right after the inauguration, they'll be going into series of meetings during which they'll be able to put together and come up with a comprehensive campaign plan for the APC. Suffice it to say that there is arrangement for the APC to be in Bauchi in the Northeast campaign sometime during the course of this week. And they are also insisting that campaigns are going to be strictly issue-based and that they are not ready to join issues with anyone or engage in character assassination. So for them, it's the issue of insecurity, tackling insecurity that is, the issue of the economy, as well as fight against corruption. But then part of their campaign strategy, I also gather, is that they will be engaging in a lot of door-to-door campaign, which they have started with the Vice President, Professor Emil Shibajo, championed that in this part of the country, as well as town hall meetings, and then they will be meeting, there will be influencers and canvassers. And this, in a nutshell, is what they have outlined for now. Millicent.
All right, many thanks, Ibrahim Adra there with the latest from Abuja. Well, still to come on Lunchtime Politics, we'll be having our senior political correspondent, Shewan Kimbaloye, who is loaded with a lot of the issues taking place in the politics, plus also the politics in Plateau State. It's taking an interesting dimension, and this is with the incumbent eyeing re-election, but will there be a match for a former minister from the PDP and other political parties justing for the seat? We'll be back with that story and more.